Thanks for watching ERi-TV, dear viewers. Welcome to our news broadcast. Here are the headlines. Successful heart operations on children in the Eritrea Referral Hospital. Seminar on disease transmitted from animals to humans in Barantu. Guterres warns against spillover of Israel-Hamas conflict. Activists protest on sidelines of IMF and World Bank annual meeting. In our domestic news, in cooperation with Italian and Eritrean physicians, Eritrea National Referral Hospital successfully performed cardiac surgery on 19 children, according to Professor Tsagereda, head of the hospital's pediatrics unit. This is the second time the program has been run since the COVID-19 pandemic. The members of the Italian non-governmental charity organization reported that the 25-member team of the association has conducted successful heart surgery on 25 children, and that attests to the growing cooperation between the Italian and Eritrean medical teams. On their part, the children's parents expressed gratitude for the assistance given to their children and the attention the medical staff showed throughout the procedure, indicating the heart surgery has been performed on 1,600 children since 2002, and that was the procedure significantly aided in the experience and technology transfer between the medical teams in Eritrea and Italy. A seminar on diseases that humans can contract from animals was held in Agordat subzone. The goal of the seminar, attended by heads of line ministries, associations and social service providers, was to raise public awareness of diseases that can be transmitted from animals to humans and to give attendees the tool they need to actively engage in the raising of the awareness of the community about these diseases. The Gash Barker Region's head of Livestock Resources Control, Mr. Sa'ara Abraham, briefed the public in great details on the types of diseases that humans might contract from animals and urged them to become more involved in the fight against them. Mr. Isar Ta'um, the sub-zone administrator, urged the attendees to share the knowledge they have acquired with their fellow local residents and stressed the seminar's significance in raising public awareness. The attendees on their part demanded that comparable seminars be held across the subzone's administrative regions. Elections of area administrators, managing directors and village coordinators was conducted in the administrative areas of Aditsahai, Admerg, Shiglet, Arada, Abarmon and Mogolo of the Mogolo subzone. Additionally, community magistrates were elected at the occasion. The subzone administrator, Mr. Abraham Kidana, stated that the goal of the election was to replace the area administrators, managing directors, village coordinators and community magistrates, and urged the newly elected to dedicate their services to serving the electorate that chose them. The Mogolo subzone is home to 23,000 inhabitants and consists of 11 administrative areas and 23 villages. That was our domestic news. Please stay tuned now for the international news right after the short break. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Wednesday expressed concern about crossfire along the Blue Line, the border between Israel and Lebanon, and called on all parties and those with influence over them to contain a spillover of hostilities. In a brief statement to the media, Guterres said he was in continuous contact with the leaders of the region in the Middle East in the wake of the new war between Israel and Hamas, with several priorities, the first of which, he said, was to avoid a spillover of the conflict. Guterres also reiterated his calls for the necessary release of all Israeli hostages held in Gaza, estimated by the Israeli government at more than 100 people, and recalled that civilians must be protected in any conflict, as dictated by international humanitarian law. The UN said there are now more than 220,000 Palestinian refugees in 92 UNRWA facilities in the Gaza Strip and said UN staff are working around the clock to support the Gazans. He also regretted the 11 UNRWA workers have been killed in the last 4 days by Israeli shelling. Amid the Israeli government's blockade of the enclave, Guterres called for crucial supplies such as food and water to be allowed into Gaza and thanked Egypt for its intervention to facilitate humanitarian access through the Rafah crossing and El Arish airport. Following Saturday's surprise attack by Hamas in Israel, the new war enters its fifth day on Wednesday, with Gaza militants continuing to fire rockets into Israeli communities near the border. Demonstrators on Thursday gathered on the sidelines of the annual meeting of the IMF and World Bank in Marrakech to protest against the two institutions who they say are guilty of fueling inequality. At a People's Alternative Global Tribunal organized in the Moroccan city, activists testified about how the policies of the international financial institutions impacted their countries. The court, organized by the activist group Fight Inequality, found the international financial institutions guilty of fueling inequality by colluding with the financial sector and powerful multinational corporations. And the verdict read by a researcher and analyst who advised the developing nations on sustainable development. The tribunal called for World Bank and International Monetary Fund the biggest scam of the century. Africa is currently facing several charges, including a debt crisis affecting several countries, while the consequences of climate change and a poverty rate, which is reducing at a slower rate than elsewhere, are hitting the continent hard. Please stay tuned now for a recap of tonight's headlines. Successful heart operations on children in the Eritrea Referral Hospital. Seminar on diseases transmitted from animals to humans in Barantu. Guterres warns against spillover of Israel-Hamas conflict. Activists protest on sidelines of IMF and World Bank annual meeting. That was our news for tonight, dear viewers. It is good night from us.